Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. And as I roam the ship here, have you seen these crazy views? This is pretty cool. First things first, make sure that you go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel. We make sure that we obviously put up content every single week, and good content, of course, that way you can learn a thing or two. Happy Easter. Hopefully you had a great Easter Sunday with family and friends, and it was fantastic, as we were having a good time off as well. The other thing that I want to remind you of, and this is what this video is really mostly about, is taxes are due on Monday. If you haven't gotten your taxes filed by tomorrow, I hope that you've already filled out an extension for them, because they are due tomorrow. And so as I come to you from this beautiful boardwalk in the ship, the biggest thing that I wanted to talk to you about is, since we're in Easter and it's Easter Sunday, at least as of the recording of this video, it is Easter Sunday today. The biggest thing that I wanted to tell you is that the Easter Bunny does not live in Washington. So what do I mean by the Easter Bunny does not live in Washington? Looks like we got a bunch of kids over here who don't know how to act. And so the idea behind it is that you want to make sure that you have your taxes properly done throughout the year, so that way majority of your money is coming home, meaning you are legally paying the right amount, and you can actually make that money work for you instead of sending it to Washington. And then you get this refund, and then you pretend like the Easter Bunny lives in Washington and they sent you this big refund for you to, obviously go and splurge. Horrible way of doing it. So for us recently, we just got our taxes done a couple of days ago, and we got a huge return, at least what I'm used to. I'm not used to having big returns because obviously we make sure that our taxes are done properly. But this year was kind of like an off year, given there were certain things that changed for us as a family and require certain changes to be done, and so it didn't make it in time, hence why we have this big refund. So I'm going to show you on the screen what that refund looks like, and I believe it's somewhere in the tune of around $12,000, a little bit over $12,000 actually. So I'll put that up on the screen. You can take a look at that. I'm going to give you 3 things that you can do with that refund. Tip number 1 is emergency fund. Now, it's important to make sure that you have an emergency fund, and typically folks say 3 to 6 months of expenses. I like to stay on the 3-month side, actually a lot less, to be quite honest, because we have high incomes that allow us to cash flow any emergency, so that's pretty cool. But more importantly, make sure you have that emergency fund in place, so that way if anything happens, you have at least this money to be able to resolve any of those emergencies in life, and they basically turn into a inconvenience. They're not an emergency. So that's awesome. Make sure you get that done for number 1. Tip number 2 for your tax refund, and that's if tip number 1 is already done. You have your emergency fund in place. Make sure you follow the order of operation and make sure your accounts are maxed out. And if you don't know what the order of operations are, I'm going to put a link to the video I did below, and the video talks about the order of operations and what you need to do in order to deploy your money when it comes to your home. So make sure you go ahead and check out that video, and wherever you are in executing the order of operations for your finances, make sure you apply the money or your refund to the steps in the order of operation for investment. Lastly, tip number 3, and tip number 3 is if you have your emergency fund in place, your order of operations are pretty much all maxed out, and you got excess cash left over, what I would do, and this is just personal, take 10% of your income, or take 10% of that return and go ahead and get you something that you always wanted, or take yourself out on that trip or that thing that you wanted to do, because life is not always about working 100% and investing all the time and you have no fun whatsoever. You want to make sure that you're enjoying the journey along the way, as I'm doing here on this ship, and you take 10% of that and you go have fun and enjoy it responsibly. And then take the 90%, of course, and follow the order of operations. And if not, get ready to put it into a brokerage account. But that's what I would do for tip number 3, is enjoy a little. You always want to make sure that you enjoy the journey as you go along. All right, so there you have it, folks. That is what I would do with a tax refund. Make sure that as tax season comes along right now, that you are adjusting your W-4 so that way next year you don't have too much taxes taken out. You only want to pay what you are legally required to pay. So hopefully those tips helped you out and they provided some value. And if it did, go ahead and hit the like button below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And lastly, let me know what you think of my tips. Would you do something differently? Put some items in the comments below and let me see what you think about what are some of the things that you should do from a tax refund perspective. So I'm gonna head back to the room now because tomorrow's gonna be a busy day. But hopefully you guys found some value in the video, and we'll see you on the next video.